Hi everyone, Darren Hunter here. Before we get into our podcast, just want to do a quick shout out for Inspection Manager. What an amazing inspection app platform that they have. And they're really excited at the moment with their tenant assisted routine inspections, where your tenants, in the convenience of their own time frame and in the convenience of their rental property, they can be getting you through the app inspections, their own inspection or their own photos that they've done. Now, this is going to help you, particularly if you're in lockdown. But what we've also found as businesses have come out of lockdown, they've found that perhaps they can do maybe one or even two of these inspections a year, aside from scheduling their normal routine inspections. The next step, really go and have a demo, have a look for yourself and make a decision where this could actually work for you too. So go to inspectionmanager.com, request a demo and check it out.
Hi everyone, it's Dennis Youssef and I have got Michael Sands with me and we are here for the BDM Coach podcast show. Michael, episode number 5.
I can't believe we're at episode number 5. Can't believe it.
Yeah, already. Super exciting. Super exciting. I'm loving it. The feedback we've been getting is great.
Exactly. The feedback we've been getting, people reaching out privately on on the DMs has been absolutely amazing. Now, I've got to let everyone in on a secret. Can I share that secret with you?
Okay. Here we go.
I can't be too excited on this podcast. I've got strict instructions from above. I've got to reel it in. So
bring it back. Bring it back.
So I'm going to bring it back. So we're going to dial it from like a level 5 to a level 3.
Okay, Michael, it just goes to show the passion that you have got with regards to BDM coaching. And I must say, the last BDM club that you pretty well ran that show on that one, mate. You took charge. You took over. I couldn't even get a word in.
And that's rare. As most people know, Dennis, like it is very hard to get a word in with Dennis. And so, the fact, but what did we discuss then? So one of the topics that we've spoken about, I guess we'll go into it deeper, but we were talking about the importance of YouTube.
Yeah.
And,
videos. Yeah.
And I guess from a BDM perspective too, like it's important that we need to kind of, touch on all the different touch points that people are going to be looking at you. Right? Because you want the eyeballs on you.
Yeah.
And we gave that session on YouTube. Don't be confused, people, with YouTube. People just putting videos up. We're going deeper on YouTube when we go into that BDM club.
Yeah, that was a full session that you had covered for. Now, that was BDM Club Blue that we were doing it. And, we need to go deeper on that session because it's quite important, the depths. And we're covering all the different aspects around your channel as well. It's not just about doing video and uploading it to a YouTube channel.
Well, it's a TV station, right? Like, people forget that. People just use YouTube or some platforms to kind of put some videos on there. But it's a TV station and you want to keep the viewers engaged.
Yeah.
So if your station that doesn't have the right programming, doesn't have the right content, well, you're not going to get viewers there. I mean,
no, that's right. And it's about being consistent, right? And that is the theme for today, is that the consistency. I don't know how many times I'm speaking to BDMs, Michael, and they say, oh my goodness, I listed 20 new doors this month, but I've got nothing in the pipeline that's coming up for next month. And it's that seesaw, right? It's up and down all the time. So one of the key things that we train on is having consistency, getting that level of consistency. And, one of the big things that we've got that everyone knows, if you haven't downloaded the form, you can go to bdmcoach.com and you can download the 28 key BDM activities form. Now, that's just the activities of what a BDM can do. But what we've done for our BDM club members, they have, not only do they have a tracking system that we've put in place for them, but we've also given them a 100-point checklist where they have to get 100 points per day of activities that they need to do. So when we talk about the 100 points, you posting to social media might be worth 5 points, but there's different avenues of posts, different types of social media. You making 10 calls could be worth 10 points. So our aim is to get that consistency in for people, and we'll go through those points. But consistency first. It's one of the most difficult things to do, because a BDM, you've got to go out and list properties, and when you're out listing properties, Michael, it's hard to prospect.
I think that the general feedback too from a lot of people, they're like, remove the club, for example. So let's say you've got a BDM out there, or someone who's doing PM, BDM, they're getting their feet wet.
Yeah.
And you're right, they have a great month because a number of facts, but they may have been working on some landlords over a couple of months, and it's all starting to come to fruition. That's pipelining your deals, right? Mm-hmm. That's having the contacts in there. But people kind of forget when they're having these purple months where they're really flat out and busy, Dennis. They're just busy bringing on the properties. They may not have the admin support, and then everything's settled and people have moved in. All of a sudden, they forgot to be making those phone calls every day. And it's so easy to do.
Yeah.
So easy to do.
Yeah, it is. And look, a BDM can task some of the work out, right? You can't always do everything every day, but you can have other people in your office doing some of the tasks, that can make it easier for you as well. So, and that's what's really important. It's a key thing that we do train, in BDM Club. And what I also love is the 100 points that they've got to get. It works in every country. It's irrespective. It does not discriminate. Right. So, we've got USA members, we've got New Zealand members, we've got Australian members in our BDM Club Black. Right now, there's 3 countries being represented, and they've got the same 100 points that they've got to reach every single day.
Yeah, universal. And we're going to be pushing that out to the UK, potentially Canada, South Africa. So it's that document. That's a golden document.
It took us hours to put together. It's stuff that came natural to us, and a lot of BDMs, you might look at it and you think, oh, but I do that. Oh, how could you do all of that every day? But once you get into that rhythm, you realize that you're actually already possibly doing half of them, just naturally without even thinking. Now, Michael, so BDM Club Black only started a couple of weeks ago, and I love the fact that, I'll just touch on one of the topics is social media. And I'm just going to share with everyone one of the examples of what they've got to do. They have to jump on there and go onto a strategic alliances Facebook post or Instagram post and comment on it. Okay, so it's getting your name out there on their social media profiles. Now, straight away, I love the fact that I've seen appointments being booked, phone calls being made by these strategic alliances to our club members because of that one small strategy that's being done. Straight away, they're being recognised as that perceived market expert in there just because of a small strategy. Now, these are things that, we're always about posting, and we're always about trying to get our names out there, but you're forgetting, people tend to forget that it's really important to actually go out and compliment and see what other people are doing so that you can, it's about touching those algorithms, right? So, it's really good.
So, I think everyone that's listening and watching this today can see that Dennis likes listening to himself, and I love listening to you, Dennis, too. I got a couple of questions for you, though.
Yep. Well, at me.
And I know that this is going to give you more airtime too, but that's okay. We'll deal with that. So you've spoken about the club, the blue and the black that we have.
Yep.
Now, just to be clear with everyone, they're only small groups. Okay, so whilst we may be speaking about the clubs, they're small, unique, handpicked. It's very much a small growth pod, and it's like an accelerated platform. I guess for those who are listening, and there's going to be a large portion that aren't part of the club yet. I guess if anyone has questions about it, please make sure you email darren@igtmail.com if you have any questions about it, or reach out to us directly, but just for the purpose of this today. So, Dennis, you're not in the club. How are people going to be implementing how do people start working on their pipeline? you know, they may not have the support of the office. They may be starting out in this role, and we have this 100-point tracking sheet that we help people in the club, right? And so they get access to all this. But what if you're not in the club? What are people going to be doing? Besides reaching out to us and joining the next club, what are the people going to be doing to start that momentum? You've given them one thing: strategic partners, going on their social media page.
Yep.
I was having a chat with a client this morning, as you know, and they had already started tagging, going on the social media, and they said, Michael, I can't believe that I'm getting all these local people now adding me on social media. Like, I haven't had anyone add me for such a long time, and I'm getting that momentum. So that's working. They're not part of the club, right? But they're getting those actionable results right away.
Yeah.
So where do they start?
Look, phone calls is one of the most important things to do. Is
Phone calls?
Absolutely picking up the phone. Your telephone, as much as everyone thinks the telephone's used for social media and taking photos and videos, it's actually first designed was actually call other people. So, making that group of phone calls. I mean, it's easy to say phone calls, but who do you call? Your current clients. You've got permission. They're already raving fans. They're already willing to scream out your name. So, you should be calling. And, what do you call it, Michael, when you want to practice making calls? Burner calls, right? It's a burner call. So a burner call could mean, if you want to practice on scripts and dialogues on chasing a private owner, don't call the private owner in your local area. Practice on a suburb and even another state. Practice on them.
Yep.
That's a burner call.
Getting rid of that nervous energy too, right? Like, it's that nervous energy. You got to call someone, you're excited, you're amped up.
Yeah.
Spend the energy.
Yeah, that's right. So get your burner calls. So your burner calls are your current clients as well. Practice your scripts with them. Tell them, look, it's only a new position. I'm growing, and the aim of the game is, my job is to introduce new clients to us, and you're a current client of ours. What do you love about us? So find out what they love about you, and then, that's at the same time you can ask them the question, what else can we do for you to help you get another investment property? Or do you know anyone else that's got an investment property? Would you like a financial health check?
And you raise a really good point there too. Like, let's say you are in an office and you are transitioning from a PM role into that BDM role within the business. That's a perfect opportunity to call every single client they've got there and say, hey, look, I am transitioning and this is my new role, and this is what I'll be doing. I'd love to be able to help you, but also if you know anyone else that I can help. I mean, it's a new role for me. I'm really excited about it. And, who best not to ask but the people that support us already. Right, so use that in your favor. But also, if you're starting either with a new company, I'd be on the phone to everyone saying, hey, it's Michael from ABC Realty, and I've just started this new role here and I'm really excited. I wanted to let you know how I can help you, what my role is here. And if you know anyone else that I can maybe give some advice or help to.
Yeah.
How exciting. What a great place to start. What a good first point to bring up there, Dennis. Well done. I think everyone would relish that.
Look, it's the easiest one to do as well. Nobody likes to get on the phone and prospect. Everyone's scared of that deny, of being turned down. So calling your current clients is a great start.
How do you know it's working? I mean, okay, so if you haven't got the guidance of, like accountability, or if your boss doesn't know too much about the business development side of things, and you're thrown into this, you're doing it, you might be part of a BDM team within the office, but you haven't got coaching or that full accountability. Yeah. How do you know it's working? I mean, like, not every single phone call you pick up is going to be a deal.
No, not at all. It's about building those pipelines, the momentum, creating your brand awareness with your clients. So brand awareness through name, through talking about who you are, talking about what you're doing, and asking them the questions, and then calling them back. So you don't just call all of your current clients now. The whole purpose of the 100 points is you then, once, if you knew, you're calling them all straight away, but then you might call 20 a month, 10 a day, or you break those numbers down to keep it going. Now, Michael, if you're not pulling in the numbers, it's obviously not working. Creating the calls is going to get the ball and the momentum running for you. But we've spoken about calls, but there's so many different areas of calls to do as well. There's strategic alliances, there's lost business, so many businesses that we go into and they don't have a contact management system for the BDM, where they struggle bringing up names, numbers and emails of those previous clients that they never listed, or those inquiries that came in, the home open sheets where investors may have gone through, or there's a lot of numbers that they need to be calling. Lost business, sold business. Just because somebody sells a house doesn't mean a BDM can't call them. Did they buy another investment property? Did they upgrade the investment property and they've listed the management with another company? These are things that these calls that you've got to do. And then it's just blocking X amount of time a day in making the calls.
And I guess by making those calls and time blocking and everything, again, the focus here is to build up that pipeline.
Yeah.
Right. So we're even trying to funnel everyone listening to this podcast today, that funnel all your inquiry, funnel it through there and work on that and build that pipeline and transition them. And I think too that just because someone's not ready now doesn't mean they're never not ready. And some people, we know this firsthand. We call thousands of real estate agents doing the strategic market reports, and people don't follow up.
Yeah.
Right? They're not following. So clearly there are people out there making a phone call to someone, but they're not actively following up.
Yeah, and that it blows me away that how many times we've actually got to call the same company before we even get onto them.
So
as well.
So follow up. So we're talking about accountability, right? So follow up. So if you make a phone call and the person's not ready or not right now, that's okay. So let them know. Perfect. Look, what I'll do is let me give you contact back in 6 months' time. Or I used to say things like when I call people, the purpose of my call today, no particular reason, just giving you a market update, letting you know how things are affecting your property at the moment. And as soon as you say your property, how things are affecting them, their property, they listen. Would you like me to give you a call back in about 6 months' time? We'll send you an email with some changes that are happening and they're going to directly affect your property. So what better time right now with all these changes with the Residential Tenancies Act and pandemics and everything going on, the best time to give people those no reason calls. That what I like about that 100-point daily checklist that we have is not so much the calls. We've touched on, social media. It's really putting the accountability on you to have. You can't be bored. There's nothing for you. There's nothing for you not to do, right? It's like when you work in hospitality and you're working behind the bar. Polish glasses, right? If you've got nothing to do, polish glasses. So this checklist here, this point list. You can go through all of I was telling someone this morning, go through all your old posts and make sure you do local tags. Make sure you're becoming local. Go through and see how many video testimonials you've got. Also, if you're struggling getting video testimonials, Dennis, why don't you offer to do some video testimonials for other people?
Yeah, that's a very good point, isn't it?
Right? Like if you're struggling, to ask the question, can you give me a video testimonial? You ring up a business and say, hey, look, we've done some business before. You tradespeople. And I think it's great what you do. Would you mind if I give you a video testimonial? Show them how it's done.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of people are scared being in front of a camera. Show them how it's done.
Yeah, spot on. Look, and on that, you're delving into marketing, right? And marketing is part of being a BDM, and it's also one of the things that needs to be covered as a BDM that we have in the 100-point checklist. Marketing is something as simple as a for lease sign at the front of a property, or a to let, or we understand that you can't put signs on all the properties because of strata or or the body corp rules, etc. However, you still can do marketing in other areas like letterbox drops. What's really interesting? What I love about letterbox drops?
No one does it anymore, and they should be doing it.
Yes, and it still works. You only have to ask a salesperson if they're doing letterbox drops, if they've just listed a property as an example, and they say, hell yes, absolutely, of course we do. And why? Because it's branding. It's showing that street that you are the expert. Because you think about it, the branding of a vehicle's marketing, the branding of a for lease sign's marketing, the letterbox drops, any social media posts in that area, that's a concentrated level of marketing in a short period of time. And don't forget if you lease that property really quickly. So that's just an example of marketing that needs to be done. And again, just to help, because a BDM can't do everything, the BDM's not necessarily the person that puts the full lease sign out. They're not the one that necessarily does the letterbox drops either. It could be the leasing agent. It could be when they're doing the ingoing, they've just done the just let, whatever. It's about working together as a team.
Totally.
Mm.
Totally. No, I mean, look, Dennis, I think the list is fantastic. I mean, as we just said earlier, that we put a lot of time into it. How do people get access to our list, though? Can people create their own?
Well, you can. One thing that I would be doing is, I'd probably take it back a step, Michael. I'd strip back and, if you were a new BDM working for a company, I'd be asking the boss, where did all the business come from last year? Break it down. Where did the business come from last year? It's a numbers game, right? So you might work out 20% was current clients, 10% was through sales, 30% was through ABC, strategic alliances, whatever. And then you work out what tasks need to be done in those areas, right? Yep. And there could be areas of business growth that didn't occur. Business wasn't coming from private landlords, or it wasn't coming from social media. So then you could put some tasks and some work into them as well. So strip it back first. Where has your previous business come from?
And we love doing that too. Like, we have that other checklist that we give to the guys in the club, which is where did it come from last year and where do you want them to come from now? And it really helps give you that steel focus on where to bring in new business. So I think, Dennis, okay, so we've covered off a number of things today, which we hope are really helpful for everyone. So we've got the accountability, and I guess starting from either PM moving into BDM or starting a new BDM role in general with a new company, that they should be starting with strategic alliances and having that accountability there.
Yep.
Following some sort of checklist to build up that pipeline. Now, Dennis, one of the most common excuses I hear all the time from people, I don't have the right software. I haven't got the right system. I can't afford to get those fancy new applications where I can track and monitor my data. That's such a common excuse, right? Or I'll start it next week when I buy my new computer and it's going to be really fast and everything. I got to say, none of that stuff matters.
Nope.
Right? It's like having the Ferrari or the Mitsubishi Magna. Still going to get you from A to B. So if someone's going to say to us, Dennis, well, I don't have the system. Excel, Google Sheets, anything and there's a lot of free versions on there to try and track and monitor your data and build up that pipeline. Yeah. There's a free version of HubSpot. We use HubSpot, free version of HubSpot that'll track your emails, it'll build up your CRM, and you can work out who's hot, cold, warm, and so on. So I guess if people are there listening and saying, well, I don't have the technology, it's free. It's in front of you and it's free. And I guarantee that if you can demonstrate to your boss that what you're doing is generating more money for the company, for yourself, that they will support you.
Oh, absolutely. Michael, the basics sometimes are a lot easier to use, and it still does the same job in the end. You brought up the Ferrari and the Mitsubishi Magna, right? They both get you from A to B. One just makes you feel better while you're driving.
And, we're not suggesting that people need to go back to the old days when Constantine used to roam the planet and it was very archaic and dated. Mm-hmm. When I first started in real estate, Dennis, we had to ask for permission for a piece of paper to put into the printer.
Wow.
Right? And then the owner of the company would get out a journal and would literally write, Michael, 1 piece or 2 pieces. And I had to reset all the window displays out the front. So I may have 50 pieces, and they would physically count 1, 2, 3. So we're not that dated, right? So you've got Excel spreadsheets, you've got everything in front to take down names and details of everyone.
Yeah.
What else, Dennis?
Well, I suppose another thing that I want to bring up is, the pressure that a BDM can have, you might start a BDM position and there's already a BDM in the office, so you've got or there was a successful BDM that may have stopped working there and then the new person's coming in. It's like Augustine was a famous leader and then his son Tiberius had to take over, right? The pressure of having the reins come through. Now, if your company has got a tracking system, has got the 100 points per day that's being used, it's a lot easier for the Tiberiuses to come in and take over the reins from Augustine. So, having this is really good, that consistency. So, Michael, another thing that I'd like to touch on is training. Training is part of the point system. So if our BDM Club members are listening to this podcast, they get points. If they're listening to our online training, they get points. If they're listening to someone else's training, they get points.
I wonder how many of them are going to use this as their points when we have our next catch up.
It will be interesting. I look forward to them tagging us in a post in the closed BDM Club group and let us know if they've watched it so they can get the points. So
actually, I'll tell you what, Dennis, let's do this. If they reply that they've listened to this particular session, I'll accept double points just for that.
Oh, okay. That's a good call.
Just for this, double points.
Well done. Okay. And they won't know until near the end of the session. So that's awesome. So, attending training, obviously, it's to our benefit if our clients are succeeding. And we want them to be training. We want them to succeed. So that's why it's really important that we've got that part of our, the tracking system. Events is another one as well, obviously. Now, it's an event that your company's doing, not attending a conference, because that's part of the training. So, information nights, or you might be doing a podcast yourself. We're talking to one of our USA clients early this morning, Michael, and they're doing their own podcasts as well, which is great. And I said, I said to him that, that's great. That's earning points for your checklist, which is really good as well. Meetings, everyone's got to be part of meetings, strategic alliance meetings, sales meetings, whatever the case. So it's all about having that, the idea is we're trying to create like some form of a daily planner to create that consistency again for our BDM Club members. And, if anyone does want to have want more information on the BDM Club, you can go to bdmcoach.com, or you can contact us direct as well. We're getting some great results with our members, and the synergies that's forming is really good as well, because, these people, Michael, they're, for example, BDM Club Black, 3 countries, different states in Australia, they all get to work together and learn from other BDMs around the world. It's really exciting for them. I mean, as a BDM in Nowra, New South Wales, where I was, I felt alone. I was on my own. I couldn't call people. I couldn't, ask, what are you doing? Or, brainstorm with them. So the group really has created that, which is brilliant.
Mm. Yeah, life of their own.
And it's one of their birthdays today too.
It is, yep. Happy birthday to that special person.
And that special person can get an extra 5 points if they know who it is.
Happy birthday for that. So I think, we've covered off on so many different things, Dennis, today for people that are either starting out fresh, merging from one role to another, changing companies, different ideas on how they can keep themselves accountable. You've got the 100-point prospecting. And I mean, look, if anyone wants to find out more about going that next step, going from having minimal or no accountability to joining a group, let us know. Now, each group that we have, each club that we have, we don't set them up frequently. We set them up when the right people are there to join at that moment, because it's so important that everyone can share and contribute. It's a full accountability team. And if you're looking to get that help and to get that guidance and that focus, and we're here to help. and share all this information with you to keep you on that pipeline track, pipeline gold.
Oh, that's right. You know, consistency, Michael, if we're to look at some of the famous sporting events around the world, whatever it is, like the St. George Illawarra Dragons won 11 grand finals in a row.
You said famous sports around the world, and you're bringing that reference in.
I'm bringing the reference to my team.
So just say a local club in South Wales.
The consistent, imagine the training, the practice, the drills, the consistency of every single day of them doing something to be successful over that period of time. Essendon Football Club, you know, in the 90s, they were one of the teams to beat. You know, how many flags had they won? And it was that consistency. They were so strong. Hawthorn, Geelong, Swans at the reign in the early 2000s, with etc. You know, Tiger Woods, the golfer, you know, how long had he won? You know, we could talk about that consistency, and he's getting his rhythm back after, you know, going through vigorous operations and marriage breakups and etc. But, you know, it's about the consistency. You know, these tennis players, I love what they did with the ATP Tour. Previously, they gave so many points for winning a Grand Slam. Now the point system's worked out of all the small competitions that they're part of. You know, so it's made them have to be more consistent in winning more tournaments and being part of it more, which is building the game up. So, and you look at Federer, probably the most consistent tennis player in the last 15 years. You know, and he was always playing in those tournaments. So, you know, we could look at it in a lot of things. Movie actors, you know, The Rock has got to be one of the most consistent actors in the last 10 years. How many movies is that guy in?
Everything. If he's not in it, then it hasn't been a good year.
You know, he's part of so many major franchise groups, the Fast and the Furious, and the Jumanji, and now he's joining DC. You know, like the guy's just in everything. So it's that consistent, successful, you know, and he's always out there training on mindset. I actually follow The Rock on social media because he has a lot of good video rants.
Yeah,
you know, that's empowering. He's a good person to follow.
It's scary, so yeah, it's good.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley, right? He's huge. But yeah, so, you know, consistency is really important. You know, I think that, you know, this 100-point checklist that that has been put together is certainly helping the BDMs get, you know, creating a rhythm is really important, and having a guide to do it is certainly helping along the way as well. So yeah, look, another thing that we do talk about for it is videos. I know we touched on it at the beginning of the podcast here, but
it's a condition of entry, isn't it? Like doing video, it's condition of entry.
Yeah, it is. Well, they have to submit a video when they first join the club as well, to, you know, tell us a bit about themselves, etc. There's so many different various ways of doing a video. There's Instagram stories, there's LinkedIn stories, there's Facebook stories, there's doing a video on the timeline as well. There's sending video text messages, there's doing educational videos, there's doing video interviews, whether it's a podcast or if you're interviewing a strategic alliance. You know, there's so many different ways. It's simply working out that rhythm of being consistent with them to get that success that, you know, makes you look like that market expert as well.
That's it. Great. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in today. We've loved going over this. And again, if anyone has any other questions, please make sure you reach out to Darren at igtmail.com. And, you know, it's a goodbye from me today. Thanks everyone for joining us. Dennis, any parting words of wisdom before we disappear? My parting words of wisdom is take the first step to gain as much consistency as you can. And I certainly hope that your new business is on fire.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.